My name is Jerry Miller. Good Friday afternoon to you. Thank you kindly for joining us on this fair and fine talk show that airs on the I Love CVille Network. We're grateful that you watch and listen to the show wherever you may be. We have viewers here in Charlottesville, in Albemarle County, in Central Virginia, across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. And we talk topics that matter to Central Virginia. We do it from a macro and micro perspective. I thought yesterday's show did a really good job of unpacking a macro topic and Elon Musk and Twitter and what he is doing from depending on your view, either he's destroying the platform or he's revitalizing the platform. I guess that depends on your view of what Elon Musk is doing. We also talked some Kyrie, Irving yesterday. I asked the question on yesterday's program, can you name Central Virginia businesses where the owners or the businesses themselves take active and visible political stances? We could name very few, if any, businesses that do that. We talked virtue signaling yesterday and how it applies to Central Virginia. Today's show has some topic matter that will follow yesterday's discussion. And it also has some fresh topic matter that we want to relay to you. I will give a take on Veterans Day and how it applies to public schools in Central Virginia. We will also give you a new update on the designated outdoor refreshment area at Stonefield. I'm excited to relay that update to you. In fact, Judah, if you check the email that I sent you with the links, with the headers for today's show, the top link has a couple of screen grabs that you can grab that we can put on screen on the DORA. I'm most focused on the map of where folks can walk and enjoy their beverage at the shops of Stonefield. And the second one I'm looking for is the establishments that are taking a part in the DORA. Today we will also discuss UVA football and basketball updates. We'll give you an update on the I Love CVille Foundation, very close, potentially next week, of announcing our charitable arm, where we will offer pro bono services to nonprofits and charities in this community, welcoming them routinely on the network, helping them drive fundraising and brand recognition and volunteer engagement, and just being an asset or a consult on calls to action that apply to local charities. This community has been good to us. The business is 15 years old in May of next year, and we want to continue to give back to the community we live within and are proud to call home. So an update soon on the show on the I Love CVille Charitable Foundation, which I'm excited to relay to you. I want to start with a message that was put on my radar by the King of Knowledge. And if he's watching this show, he knows who I'm referring to. And it's in regards to Veterans Day in public schools. I've syndicated this perspective across our network, which is every social media platform. And I'll read what I wrote and then published everywhere, and it's now going viral with folks on either side offering support or opposition to what I wrote. Here's the tweet, and here's the perspective. Albemarle County public school students are in school today on Veterans Day. Albemarle County public school students did not have school on either October 28th, October 29th, November 7th, and November 8th. They were teacher work days on 4 of 14 days. 4 of the past 14 days were teacher work days for ACPS. I found it odd or curious in such a short window, 14 days, 4 of those 14 were teacher work days, that ACPS did not schedule a work day on Veterans Day today to allow students and teachers to honor veterans in our country. The calendar is approved each year, final approval, by the Albemarle County School Board. So I ask this question to you, the viewers and listeners, and I'm curious of your take and your perspective on this. In a 14-day period of time, 14 days, 4 of those 14 days were teacher work days. Should one of those teacher work days have been allocated to Veterans Day so students and teachers could take the day away from school to honor the many veterans in our country that have served America? I ask this question genuinely because I feel the day, Veterans Day, should be celebrated and championed at the same commitment, focus as other holidays that we celebrate in this country. 4 of 14 days is quite a bit. October 28th, October 29th. No holidays on those days. November 7th. No holiday on that day. November 8th, Election Day. I understand why November 8th is a teacher work day. I don't understand why the work day was allocated on the 28th and 29th and 7th when they are in such close proximity to today, the 11th of November, Veterans Day. So I ask you, the viewer and listener, have the conversation. Talk about it amongst your friends and family. Discuss it with your kids. My hope is the students in school today are truly reminded and educated on the significance of Veterans Day. It's one thing to wear patriotic colors while attending school on Veterans Day, and it's another thing completely, altogether differently to hear from veterans about their experiences serving in a branch of military for our personal freedoms. My hope is students that are in classrooms, and it's not just Albemarle County Public Schools that are in school today, other public schools as well. My hope is these students are taught or educated of the importance of what Veterans Day is all about. I spent 90 minutes this morning, more than 90 minutes, about 2 hours in fact, with Keith Smith on Real Talk with Keith Smith. And if there's a veteran that is significant or important to us, it's that man right there. I see what he's all about. So, a little fodder for your dinner table, your breakfast table, and maybe a long car ride to and from school today. The significance of what Veterans Day is about. I hope the students in schools today are being taught that significance. A couple of other topics I want to put on your radar. We have a designated outdoor refreshment area update for the shops of Stonefield. Judah, if we can welcome you on the 2-shot. First, this morning you were getting significant props from viewers and listeners on the hair and the fact that it was looking so good. Nicholas Erpy made the comment that if you wore a suit to work and ponytailed the hair, that you could be Russian mafioso.
Yeah, or a tracksuit.
Tracksuit, okay. I think it looks great. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Before we show the update for the designated outdoor refreshment area and where the viewers and listeners can walk around Stonefield with their DORA cup, we have that map for you in fantastic graphic design. And before we let you know the shops and restaurants that are participating in this designated outdoor refreshment area, I'd like to get your take on the Veterans Day public schools, if you'd like to offer something there, or if you'd like to offer any perspective from yesterday's show at all. Show is yours anywhere you want to go.
Okay. In regards to the Veterans Day, yeah, definitely. I think it's certainly worth teaching our children that our veterans are worthy of memorial. That of all the holidays that we give our kids, I think Veterans Day and Memorial Day are probably two of the most important, because they teach our children to respect those who have given us the freedom to live in this country and enjoy all the things that we enjoy on a daily basis.
Kevin Yancey says, as a veteran, I think Memorial Day would be the better holiday to reflect on veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms and use the Veterans Day as a teaching about military service. That's a good comment. So yeah. Kevin Yancey makes the comment that he also hopes students in classrooms today are learning about Veterans Day.
Yeah.
I hope that as well.
Yeah.
I
also hope that they are being taught that while they may disagree with the reasons for wars and why we go and participate in them, our service people are not the ones that choose when and where to serve. They serve because they serve, and they are due all the respect that we can give them.
That's well said. That's excellent. Succinct and very well described. And that's one aspect of serving in the military that I just find so heroic and selfless, that they're choosing military service people to serve the country,
yeah,
even if they happen to disagree,
right,
with some of the reasons they're serving.
Yeah, they may disagree with the leaders. They may disagree with the reasons for going to war, but they are called to service, and they go to service, and they put their lives on the line for us.
I just hope it's more than just wearing patriotic colors in school.
Yeah.
In our family, today was always a time for elder statesmen in our family to reinforce the significance of what the day was about. And my hope is that is not lost in today's younger generation, because fortunately, and I say this thanking the Lord, our country hasn't been front and center in a war that actively is involving us that keeps this top of mind.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. That's why I said what I said. I think when we teach our kids about our servicemen and women, it's important for them to know that whatever their feelings are for us being in other countries, the people that fight don't make that decision. They go because they're called, and so reserve whatever feelings you have for the people that send them.
I like it. Anything else you want to offer before we get to the next one?
Well, sure. I apparently some people, I guess, didn't like what I had to say in regards to Kyrie yesterday.
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. So all I've got to say is I have no vested interest in the man or his career. I couldn't care less about him. And I was just responding to the information that I was given. I've read up a little bit more. Still seems a little odd that so many people are coming out against him and not against Amazon. But I think that always holds true. There are plenty of people that say shop local or support your. But the next day they've got an Amazon package on their
front steps,
their front stoop. Yeah. So I certainly don't condone the show, which I haven't seen.
The movie.
I don't condone him pushing it. I'm half Jewish, so it's a shame that kind of programming is even making its way to Amazon without the kind of oversight that you would hope that they have, especially if, that's the kind of thing that anybody can watch. You don't want your kids...
They have to pay for it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no gatekeeping in terms of like age or...
That's fair.
So anybody could tune into it, and apparently Amazon is not doing any kind of quality control. I find that a little more concerning than some basketball star making a fool of himself,
promoting the movie on his platform.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting topic because it gets to the point of freedom of speech and how far freedom of speech can go.
Yeah.
And it really is front and center now with what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter, because he's made a push to make Twitter the true town forum or world's forum. And one of the reasons he purchased it, and you made this point yesterday, I made the point that he purchased this to make money. You made the point that he purchased this to preserve freedom of speech.
No, I made the statement that he had reasons that we may not understand or know.
That's fair too.
It could have been.
I think it's those two are some of the drivers to make money and to preserve freedom of speech. The question is the form of freedom of speech.
Right.
It's one thing to have freedom of speech. It's another thing altogether to have a massive platform and to spout hateful things on that platform. You may, we may, anyone may have freedom of speech, but that freedom of speech could also come with backlash and collateral damage, or worse, arrests and convictions.
Yeah.
We, on this Veterans Day, military service people fought for Judah and I, for you, viewers and listeners, for Kyrie Irving, for Colin Kaepernick, for Muhammad Ali, for Donald Trump, for Joe Biden, for Hillary Clinton.
As long as we're on the subject of anti-Semitics, you've got Louis Farrakhan, who is heavily anti-Semitic, and thankfully he's not in the news cycle very often.
Military service people fought for all the folks that we just listed. Judah listed another, to have freedom of speech. And while we have this undeniable right as Americans for freedom of speech, there is backlash, collateral damage, and a potentially arrest and conviction that could come with what you say on your platform. And trust me, someone who knows that firsthand locally is yours truly. We talk often on the show, or certainly yesterday, who can think of business owners in the community that utilize their platform to discuss politics? Well, you're interacting with one right here.
Yeah.
Much of what we talk about on this show is politics, because we understand on this program the importance of politics, especially at a local level. The policies and the practices being discussed, considered, and voted upon here in Central Virginia have as significant of an impact on our lives and our households, in fact, more significant of an impact than what happens at the federal or state level. That's why we talk about them. We want them to be in the news cycle, in the narrative, and on the tips of folks' tongues. And in regards to Kyrie Irving, I think Scott Aaronworth, the king of Virginia Beach, made a couple of good points. Kyrie tried to make the $500,000 donation. The ADL did not accept the $500K.
I believe
they accepted it and then they gave it back.
I believe the team tried to offer them money as well.
The team donated $500K as well, the Nets. He found the apology, Scott, disingenuous.
That's fair enough.
Fair enough. Judah makes a fine point. We made this point yesterday, that the outrage is not happening toward Amazon as well.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a very applicable point. That's the difference between true money and power and having some money in a platform.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Now, we got a DORA update for you, as we promised. If you could show the graphic design on screen that I think is absolutely beautiful.
There is the designated DORA area.
Is it the map you're putting on screen?
Yeah.
This is the shops at Stonefield. The red area is the designated outdoor refreshment area at the shops of Stonefield. Nicely done map. The main drag in the shops of Stonefield is Bond Street, B-O-N-D Street. You'll be able to walk up and down Bond Street with your alcoholic beverage. The lawn next to Stonefield, next to the shops, they call it the lawn at Stonefield, is where you're going to start seeing a lot more live music and in-person events as the shops of Stonefield directly tries to compete with places like the downtown mall. Jump in here, please.
The Tinsel Trail is also getting set up again, which is important to note. It's I think businesses can contribute with a tree, and the money goes to a good cause, the Junior League of Charlottesville.
There you go. Good insight right there. I want to emphasize this multiple times for the viewers and listeners of this fine and fair program. The shops of Stonefield are owned by a very wealthy entity that has a lot of money. And this entity is committed to revitalizing these shops. They are going to do so with omni-experiential marketing campaigns and live events. And what that means in a nutshell is they're going to have a lot of live events that attract locals to the shops of Stonefield. Music, live music, farmers markets, activities for children. Judah just rattled one off.
Yep, the Tinsel Trail. You may have seen it last year. I think maybe even the year before. It's where they take the lawn, and I believe it's just around the edges. They plant live Christmas trees, and each company can sponsor a tree, and I think they get to wrap it themselves.
Potentially brand it, wrap it, and
Yep.
make it festive. The reason I bring this up, why don't you put the businesses, this fantastic graphic design, that are participating in the DORA. Burger Batch, Burton's Bar and Grill, Matchbox, Torchy's. You'll be able to buy the drinks. And then you can bring the drinks into Brooks Brothers, Duck Donuts, Fruit Fix, Lululemon, Matchbox, Organic Crush, Splendora's Gelato. Can you say the first one? Altered D State?
I think it's just Altered State.
Altered State? A little branding there?
Well, they're a Christian company, so Alter, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think stands for.
The altar.
Whatever it stands for, but.
Altered State. Very nicely done. And then Bricks and Minifigs.
Yeah, no idea.
More will be added to the list. The DORA was done in partnership with the Center for Nonprofit Excellence, a fantastic nonprofit locally. And I know for certain other shopping districts in Albemarle County are pursuing a similar path for attracting business from competing jurisdictions during a recession when business is limited. During a tough time for the economy, offering live events and in-person activities are going to be a point of differentiation and or separation in economies and competing jurisdictions. I want to mark that down again for you. 2023 is going to be a time of economic hardship. We all see the writing on the wall. And having live events and things to do for families, singles, and on date night, couples, these live events will drive economic engagement and potentially create incremental tax revenue potential. City of Charlottesville is going to sag with its meals and retail taxes. I'm very curious to see what happens with the lodging taxes. Albemarle County has already indicated to us they're operating at a budget deficit, so expect an increase on real estate tax rates. We know that's happening. I like these creative, novel, and new ideas that are happening to attract people to Albemarle. I like it. More on the horizon. I can't release yet what's coming, but I'm telling you firsthand, you will be excited. A couple other topics I want to get to. Popitos Pizza is opening in Rio Hill Shopping Center. You have the photo of the Popitos owners. Let me know when that's on screen.
There they are.
It's on screen.
With the earpiece.
Look at the screen. They were on Today y Mañana. Scott Aaronworth says, thank you, J-Dubs, for what you said.
You're welcome. I don't mean to offend, ever.
I know you don't. Scott Aaronworth, Popitos Pizza, Rio Hill Shopping Center, and the old Brick Oven Pizza. Keep it on screen. They join Alex and Xavier Yerpe on Today y Mañana. That show airs Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network. Fantastic show. Alex and Xavier showcase the Popitos Pizza rise, pun intended. They started during COVID. I've personally had Popitos Pizza at Winter Wonder at the Boar's Head Resort.
So did I.
It's dynamite.
Yeah, very good.
I love the pizza. Now they have a brick and mortar in Rio Hill Shopping Center on Route 29 in the old Brick Oven Pizza place by Lowe's, that shopping center.
Yeah.
Pizza's good. The pizza's very, very good.
Oh,
and this, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I had the, I forget what it's called. It was the spicy one. It was like the, I forget, but it was really good. It was pepperoni and really hot, and definitely getting that again.
Juan Sarmiento, the king of transportation, says, please mention that, is it, help me with this word, is it arepas on wheels, A-R-E-P-A-S?
Arepas?
Arepas on wheels. They open their eat-in restaurant on Monday the 14th. Cherry Avenue. The first Venezuelan restaurant in Charlottesville.
Nice.
As Simon, Charlottesville 29 reports, they're open for takeout already. And dine-in service begins on November 14th. Thank you, Juan Sarmiento, for putting that on our radar. In fact, I'm going to respond to your comment here. Juan, thank you, sir. Exclamation point, enter, publish, send to Juan. I just did. I love seeing new businesses open. I particularly enjoy seeing, that's exactly right, Kevin Yancey, it's beside the Kroger. Kevin Yancey, you know what's going on, smart guy, mayor of Waynesboro. I love seeing businesses open anytime. I especially love seeing businesses that open during a challenging period like COVID, showing that they're expanding and growing. And that's what these businesses are doing. They went from having a mobile setup for their business to now having brick and mortar. And you don't make that kind of expansion unless you're bullish on your business. I think Albemarle County is primed for even more businesses to open, and we're excited to give them attention and champion them. Very much so. And that's a perfect segue into the I Love CVille Foundation that we're going to launch. We're working on the branding collateral now, and I want to weave you into the mix here, Judah. Look, I've been here since 2000. So over 22 years I've been in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. Came here as a first year at the University of Virginia, immature, didn't really know a whole lot. And undoubtedly Charlottesville and Albemarle County is where I've grown into being a man and a business owner, a husband and a father. The business that we call VMV Brands and the holding company that we call the Miller Organization turns 15 years old in May of next year. When I launched this business, did I ever think we'd make it to 15 years? I was just trying to get to 15 days. Just trying to get to 15 months. Didn't even give a glimpse of 15 years. So one of the things we try to do is we try to utilize the platform we have, which is the I Love CVille Network, to highlight so many awesome things that are going on in the community, and also highlight challenging and awkward topics that need to be had. That's what we do each day on this show. We're going to introduce a new aspect of the I Love CVille Network and the Miller Organization. It's going to be a foundation, a charity or charitable arm or division for the Miller Organization. The I Love CVille Foundation will, every 90 days, every quarter, pick one nonprofit in Central Virginia, and for 90 straight days, spotlight the nonprofit, highlight the nonprofit's call to action messages, help the nonprofit drive brand exposure, brand recognition, help the nonprofit from a fundraising standpoint, from a volunteers standpoint, and make the nonprofit top of mind for members in the community, because we know when you drive brand awareness, you're driving eyeballs, and when eyeballs are driven, engagement happens, and that engagement is usually human capital or actually financial capital. So the I Love CVille Foundation will soon be announced. I think we might be able to make this announcement as early as next week. And in a nutshell, what we will do with this foundation is highlight a nonprofit in Central Virginia every 90 days and be the champion of all champions for that charity. They won't get charged a penny, not a single cent by us. We will do this pro bono completely. You'll see them on our talk shows. You'll see their logo and their message and their brand. You will see call to action messages from us to help drive fundraising and volunteer engagement for these charities. They will get this completely for free from us. It's important to you and I.
Yeah.
The challenge is going to be picking the ones, because there's so many great ones, Judah.
No doubt.
And we're going to do one every 90 days. Us going hard for something for 90 days, and you've seen it, I've seen it, we know it, will have
Great effect.
and impact. You'll help pick these, our partners, the ones we spotlight, as will my better half, who's very excited about this as well. I want to highlight another aspect locally that needs attention, and that's a Twitter thread that was done by Kelsey Calger. I'm going to read the thread, Judah. She was the communications director for Josh Throneburg's campaign, who ran in the 5th district against Bob Good. Throneburg eventually lost to Bob Good. Mm-hmm. She has a Twitter thread that's 8 or 9 tweets long. I found it fascinating and insightful. You can find it on Twitter as well. Honored by Foxes is her handle. Kelsey Calger is her name, the communications director for Josh Throneburg's congressional campaign. She says this: "Now that I am a free agent again and am only speaking for myself, I want to say that if you are a progressive in Virginia or want a deeper bench of Democrats outside the major population centers, you should start ignoring the DPVA, Democratic Party of Virginia." Okay. This is the communications director of Throneburg's campaign talking about the Democratic Party of Virginia.
Is she going to say he was thrown under the bus?
Get ready. Kelsey on Twitter says, "Do not give them money and do not volunteer for coordinated events with the DPVA." Kelsey continues, "Their priorities are not your priorities. Instead, donate directly to candidates you like. Sign up to volunteer with the candidates directly through their website. Give more of your time and money to down-ticket races like school board, board of supervisors, General Assembly, because they do not get any help from the Democratic Party of Virginia." Kelsey also says, "If a campaign doesn't seem to have its act together, find a different campaign, but don't give your time and money to the state party. This most recent election is a good example of why not. The Democratic Party of Virginia poured all of its resources into 2 races and sort of tipped its hat at a third. Their rationale, we have to hold on to those seats. But this is an issue of the party having all of its eggs in one basket. If they put the slightest effort into building out infrastructure and flipping districts, then it would not be a 4-alarm fire when a district got tight. And districts do get tight. People move in and out. There's redistricting every 10 years. You can't run a state party by saying we will invest in a few places, and when they inevitably change, we'll just have a panic attack and lose more power because we have no plan. In the 5th district, we got under $1,000 from the state party and PACs combined. But it wasn't just money. The party would not follow us on Twitter. They did not mention us on their website. They refused to cover our debate. They would not share our fundraising information. They poached our volunteers. Wow. They did not want to pull focus, they said. And in the end, after hyper-focusing on 2 races at the expense of the rest of the state, they lost one of those 2 races anyway. Basically, if we're going to build a bench out here, we're going to need to get hammers and saws and do it ourselves. Oh, because I've been reminded that people don't know this, if you donate to the state party, you might be under the impression that they divide money between the candidates and or between county Democratic committees. They very much do not. They funnel your money to serve their own priorities. Because I don't work in Northern Virginia, Hampton, or Richmond races, I've never worked on a race that's gotten financial support from the Democratic Party of Virginia, and rural committees are out here holding raffles so they can buy things like printer toner and paper.
Wow, that's a pretty scathing statement.
Scathing is the word I would use. This is the communications director of Josh Throneburg's campaign, offering insight into the Democratic Party of Virginia and the little support the party offered Throneburg in his quest to unseat or beat an incumbent that had, frankly speaking, cornered a gerrymandered district. What do you make of that?
I don't know if gerrymandered fits. I heard someone recently say if the only way to fix a gerrymandered problem is to re-gerrymander it, and I don't know that there was any way to. I don't know if there's any way to.
You're saying Bob Goba's going to lose that race?
Yeah. What do you combine? I think somebody was saying maybe we could attach the Charlottesville, Albemarle portion of the voter base with somewhere in Richmond that also votes in the same in the same direction. But at some point you just got to say, look, Charlottesville and Albemarle are a blue pond in a vast red pasture, and it's just always going to be tough. I don't know if you can redistrict it to make sense, but what do I know?
So at that point, the voting, I mean, you got Perriello that won.
Yeah.
He won the 5th. But for the most part, you're basically saying it's going to go red, regardless of what Charlottesville or Albemarle does.
That's the way it seems to me. I mean, it may be. I also read, and
I like when you relay topics that you read.
Maybe this could have had an effect as well. I read that all the candidates, or at least most of the candidates that won across the United States this election cycle, were the candidate who spent the most money.
That's another unfortunate aspect.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But that ties back into what the communications director was saying, and maybe if Throneburg had had more money to toss at the campaign, he could have had a better chance against Bob Good.
Interestingly, does that tie into the Amazon Kyrie topic?
How so?
Amazon's not getting any grief from this because they got a lot of money.
Could be.
A lot of power. And I mean, let's cut to the chase. Kyrie's got a lot of money too, but Kyrie's
people are less
a penny compared to what Amazon can do.
And I think maybe it has less to do with money in that case,
as opposed to brand versus person.
More to do with the fact that people like their conveniences, and so very few people are going to give up Amazon for
political collateral damage.
Not even political, but personal. What's the word I'm looking for? People being trying to be altruistic. I think they reserve that for easy targets like Kyrie Irving, and hold back on not so easy targets like Amazon, which they're going to continue using.
And that's why I asked the question yesterday: how many people have stopped using a product, a brand, or business because of their political stances? And one of the viewers and listeners made the comment yesterday. Chick-fil-A, who undoubtedly uses its platform for political purposes.
Right. If they were relying on,
it would be completely empty in Charlottesville City and Albemarle County. But last checked,
not
Albemarle
completely.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more Dems than Republicans.
Definitely.
And a lot of what Chick-fil-A is doing is more right-leaning than left-leaning with its politics.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
last I checked, the Chick-fil-A's in Barracks Road, the Chick-fil-A on Route 29, and the Chick-fil-A on Pantops, those three Chick-fil-A's, Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville, are the three busiest restaurants and the top revenue-producing restaurants of any in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. I want to repeat that again. The three Chick-fil-A's are 1, 2, and 3 in Albemarle County and Charlottesville City on gross revenues, and they're closed for one day. So if people were truly canceling or stop using products or services or brands or businesses based on their politics, the Chick-fil-A in Albemarle in the city of Charlottesville, which is very blue, Albemarle in the city of Charlottesville, would not be 1, 2, and 3 from revenue producing in Charlottesville and Albemarle County.
Where are the other ones in Charlottesville?
Starbucks.
What?
Starbucks. Starbucks is right after Chick-fil-A with producing revenue.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about of all the Chick-fil-A's, they produce better than
Of
some
all
other ones.
of any food business,
Wow.
any food business in Charlottesville City and Albemarle County, Chick-fil-A is 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, it's impressive.
1, 2, and 3, and they're not open on Sundays.
Yeah. You're
Now,
right.
granted, they have assets, they have tremendous things they're leveraging, like drive-throughs. They also have fantastic real
Service.
estate, fantastic service, fair price points.
And I think most people know that Chick-fil-A is not out there campaigning for their political or religious beliefs.
It's
they
a very
may
vocal a company when it comes to politics.
Oh, yes, they may make statements, but I don't think they're out there actively campaigning for any of their causes. Anyways, yeah, they do good business. If people wanted to vote with their dollars, so to speak, they certainly could.
But to your point, they don't. Because they choose convenience over ideals.
Yeah, I don't like.
That's your point, is what you're saying.
I don't like Amazon, and I don't use them. I would much rather buy something locally or order from a company that's not doing what Amazon does on a regular basis.
Where I find it the most frustrating is this, in Charlottesville very much is this support local, buy local, support local. And so many of us say it, but so many of us do not vote with our dollars and follow through with our dollars.
Yeah, very true.
And that's frustrating. And that's one of the reasons you're going to start seeing the places like the UVA Corner be a mecca for Chipotle and Raising Cane's and Starbucks and Qdoba, as opposed to St. Martin's, Michael's Bistro, Little John's, and other locally owned businesses that we've grown to love. Vote with your dollars. All right, last topic here. This came up on yesterday's show. Elon Musk looks like he's burning Twitter on fire. Today's news, which just broke a little bit ago, is Twitter is now stopping its paid verification $8 a month service.
Could that have been his plan all along? I've thought about this, and
but why would he do that? Why would he? You're basically saying you're saying that he wanted to destroy the platform all along, even to the point of losing billions of dollars of his money.
No, I'm saying that he knew he would have headwinds coming into this, and so he starts off rough by saying, "Hey, I'm going to charge you all $8 a month for a blue check," and everybody freaks out. Everybody gets angry. Half the people leave with their arms up. In the
A lot
air,
of them are leaving,
screaming.
Very left-leaning are leaving.
And what if he knew he was going to do this all along, and then he pivots and says, "Oh, hey, you know what? Forget about the $8." And all of a sudden, whatever problems people had, they're like, "Oh, okay." It's like, you present people with a problem that you can solve and make them forget about the problem that you can't solve, at least not right away. And so once you get rid of the problem that you always knew that you could solve, $8, all I got to do is take it away. Now everybody's like, "Oh, okay, it's not so bad." And they all come back, and it's how many people were really going to 100% never use Twitter again?
I think it's a smoke and mirrors game. I hadn't thought about that. I think that's a very conspiracy-esque theory, my friend.
I mean, do you think
think
he's unsavvy enough that he actually thought the $8 a month was going to, people were going to be like, "Oh, hey, that's a great idea"?
I think he genuinely thought the $8 a month would generate revenue. I mean, here's you want to hear a crazy stat? Musk told everyone today that the platform is losing $4 million a day. $4 million a day the platform is losing.
I wouldn't be surprised if most of the social media platforms have problems like that.
Yeah, a lot of them are. A lot of the social media platforms are losing and hemorrhaging money. Yeah, a lot of them. $4 million a day is a significant amount of cash.
Yeah, no doubt.
The reason I bring this up here is we're watching literally in real time of the potential demise of a platform that is literally a news service for much of Charlottesville and Central Virginia. It's a news service for much of Charlottesville and Central Virginia. And it's certainly the water cooler for folks that identify as left-leaning and socialist in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia. And the platform literally before our eyes is I don't want to use the phrase being destroyed, maybe reimagined. Imploding. I think they all apply. Reimagine, imploding, evolving.
Yeah.
And we're going to see what happens. We'll follow it closely. $4 million a day. Told every Twitter employee, you better get back to the office. He gave them a deadline of yesterday.
Yeah.
No more hybrid work.
I've heard some people think that's a bad idea.
Juan Sarmiento saying, you're right on target with this, Judah. Giving you some props. The king of transportation.
Thank you, Juan.
Juan, we love when you watch the program. We'll follow it closely, man. It's a news service. A lot of local news originates there. I'm on the platform quite a bit myself to see and read. I mean, look, I just read a thread from Kelsey Calger, the director of communications from Throneburg's campaign. Yeah. She published that thread on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a fan of, regardless of politics, I'm a fan of the news. I want as much local news readily available for us to absorb. And then for us as readers or watchers or listeners of that news to decipher, do we agree with this? Do we disagree with this? Do we agree with part of it? Do we disagree with part of it? It's up to us as readers and listeners and watchers to utilize context clues, our intellect, and our personal experiences to determine what we make of the news. But what we do not want to happen is for there to be no news, even if we disagree with it. Yeah. I mean, there's so many times people on this show, they completely, and it happens all the time, disagree with what I say. And that's completely fine. I disagree with a lot of what people say as well. That's completely fine. But what we don't want is no news. Or what we don't want is news controlled by only a couple of outlets. Because that's where absolute power corrupts. And when you control the news and you control the media and you control the outlets, you can dictate and determine what people do. And if you don't think that's true, look at China. Look at China. Mm-hmm. China is still on ridiculous lockdowns when it comes to COVID. Ridiculous lockdowns when it comes to COVID. And China is controlling what its citizens read and see and hear and watch. We want news. Even if we disagree with it, we want the news. Anything else you want to add? I thought you were on point today. Really, really good job from you today.
Thank you. I can't think of anything else to add.
That's the show. My phone's blowing up over here. Friday edition of the show. Veterans Day. Veterans Day.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. We would not have the ability to do this if it wasn't for veterans fighting for our rights. Thank you for your service. Remember what the day is all about. Veterans Day. Friday edition of the talk show. For Judah Wickower, I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. Take care. Good show, Judah. Excellent work today.
Thank you.
Excellent work.